Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. I have another video to help you get prepared for your 2020 fantasy football drafts. As draft month, we are actually a part of it, and it's been a slow start to draft month. Everybody obviously concerned about other things. Is there even going to be an NFL season? I'm glad that a lot of you guys are starting to come back and really start digging into, diving into some fantasy football information. I've got plenty of other videos if you're interested in week one on DraftKings or FanDuel. I've got all that information up. This week, we're going to be focusing on season-long drafts. Next week, we'll get back to the DFS stuff. So thank you for being here. If it's your first time on the channel, drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that notifications bell because I come out with a absolute pant load of content on YouTube throughout the season. And every one of these videos is recorded live on twitch.tv. There's a link down below to all my other socials, including Twitch. Come join the show when I'm live during football season. Once week one gets here, it'll be 6 days a week, every morning, Pacific time from about 9 to about noon. So without any further ado, let's just get to the league winners, these late round league winners. I have highlighted 5 players that are being drafted in the later rounds of drafts that can help you, if they hit, become that guy that wins you the league. 2018, it was James Conner. It was Patrick Mahomes. Last year, it was Lamar Jackson. If you drafted these guys in the 10th, 11th, 12th, 15th rounds, you had so much value to go along with those players that were at the top end of your draft that you drafted in rounds 1 through 5, and hopefully you hit on them as well, that it gave you a massive leg up on all of the competition in your league. So I've detailed 5 of them. None of them are going to be quarterbacks this year. I think the quarterback is deep, but I don't think that there's going to be anybody that separates themselves as an absolute league winner that's being drafted late, but there are some running backs and some wide receivers and tight ends. So let's get right to the first one. He's our cover boy on this video. It's Damien Harris from New England Patriots, with Sony Michel still dealing with recovery from his offseason surgery, and Damien Harris really showing out so far in Patriots camp. As Mike Reese has said numerous times this offseason, the highlight of the day has been Damien Harris. He's taking all the snaps with the ones. I am not expecting Damien Harris to play 65-70% of the snaps. I am not expecting him to get 90% of the workload. New England, under Bill Belichick, always runs their offense a very specific way. There's been 3 running backs for the past 5 years, pretty much every single year, none of them getting over 40% of the snaps. This is the way that they like to run with their committee. Every one of them has a carved out role. If you are the early down guy, if you are the goal line guy, which Damien Harris is projecting to kind of be that guy, that's a 35 to 40% market share of those running back snaps, of those carries, including some goal line work on an offense that I think is going to be better than expected for a few reasons. I think that they're going to have to play a little bit faster than they did last year because of the fact that they had a few very key pieces on that extremely strong defense from 2019 that have opted out for this year, which should allow other teams to score a little bit more, which is going to force the Patriots to throttle up just a little bit. And if somebody like Damien Harris can force his way onto the field, he is right now being drafted as the running back 51. There's very little risk here. He's got an ADP of 137, which is about the middle of the 13th round. Very little risk for you to draft him as your RB3 if you're drafting like a 0 running back sort of style, or your RB4 or 5 if you're drafting, later in drafts. He's the guy that I want to target, and I've targeted him a ton so far in the best ball drafts that I've done. Moving over to another running back. This one's a little bit more on everyone's radar recently. He's a lot of people's favorite late round pick. We've spoken about this with Adam Levitan, talked about him as well with JJ Zacharyson. Zack Moss being the, quote, you're going to hear this constantly, the Frank Gore role in this Buffalo Bills offense. But I think that he has the talent, he has the skill set to take on even more than that, even with the presence of Devin Singletary. It is not out of the realm of possibility that the Bills are going to go with the hot hand sort of technique, which means that if Zack Moss is running well, and he tends to not be a guy who's going to put the ball on the ground, he should be in there to get goal line carries. Although they do have Singletary, they also have a quarterback that will vulture a lot of those touchdowns also. But in the case that something happens, where I don't think this is a necessary thing with Damien Harris, he doesn't need somebody in front of him to get injured. That's already happened. Right now, he's the guy, at least for the beginning of the season. Zack Moss If something does happen, if there is a positive COVID test and we get 3 weeks out for Singletary, Zack Moss will take over the #1 role in this offense and get all the snaps at running back, all the catches, and all the carries. So he is one play away essentially from being the guy on a pretty darn good offense that should be able to move the ball, has pieces on the outside so that the box can't be stacked constantly, especially with as often as Josh Allen does throw deep, one of the highest percentage of deep throwers in the league, regardless of how accurate he's been. He's not that great in terms of his downfield accuracy, but he will challenge downfield. In the addition of Diggs, bringing back somebody like Brown, adding these running backs is key. And again, he is being drafted as the running back 41. He is right there in the middle of that RB4 mix. He's being drafted as that. So if you're going to get this RB4 type guy around the 11th round, Zack Moss provides you an awful lot of potential upside to go along with the floor based on the built-in number of snaps, running back share. Right now, he's slated for about 40% with the high leverage carries inside the 5, which do project to be what his role will be on this team without any sort of injury or missed time from Singletary in front of him. So you do have value already built in with the possibility of a massive ceiling. Moving to wide receiver, the Philadelphia Eagles just don't have any, or didn't have any, until they drafted Jalen Reagor. This kid can play. He was a touchdown machine in college, deals with a lot of targets, getting rave reviews from Carson Wentz. I'm not talking about coach speak. I'm talking about quarterback speak. If a quarterback tells you that he likes throwing to somebody, that he's got a good size target to throw to in the end zone. Now, Reagor's not a giant. He's like 6 feet, 200 pounds, roughly, in that range, right? He's not like a 6'4", 230 guy. He can move a little bit. He's got the size to fight people off in close areas. And with Djax healthy and on the opposite side of him, that's going to stretch the field. Djax has done amazing things for quarterbacks in terms of yards per attempt, in terms of their quarterback rating. Any quarterback that plays with Djax over the last decade has seen an uptick in their efficiency. Also, there's a target monster inside that defenses have to worry about with Zach Ertz, which leaves Reagor in one-on-one coverage on the opposite side of the field and not fighting anybody for targets. So there's a very easy path here to somewhere about 80 or 100 targets for this rookie who can play, has the respect of his quarterback, and is having himself a very good camp. He is being drafted as a wide receiver 44. Again, being drafted later, a wide receiver 4. You don't have to waste one of your top couple of picks. You're not drafting him as a starter if you're playing transactional leagues, and you're getting a lot of upside here if you're playing best ball. He is being drafted in about the 12th round currently, but I think that is rising and will rise continuing through draft season. The next player has already seen a little bit of a rise in best ball, but in season-long leagues like FFPC, what's the other league? The FFPC and the NFFC, those two leagues haven't seen a big jump in Mecole Hardman's ADP. But Sammy Watkins is Sammy Watkins. He ain't that thrilling. He's dealing with a small little nagging thing in camp where he's missed a little bit of time. Mecole Hardman was already slated, in my opinion, to see an uptick in targets and usage based on how explosive he was last season. They've got to get the ball in his hands more than they did last year with the 30 receptions that he got on 47 targets. If that bumped up to 65, 70, all of a sudden you have a guy who could be with as many other options as there are on this offense and as big game potential as he has. With Watkins starting above him, that puts him in a rarefied air for that ADP again, with a wide receiver 47 right now, 139 ADP going in the 13th round of drafts. Now, if he's sneaking up, and he is in best ball, because him possibly moving ahead of somebody like Sammy Watkins could very reasonably bump his targets from 47 up to about the 80 to 95 range. If he gets that many targets with the skill set that he has, and as creative as that offense is at getting the ball in the hands of their playmakers in space where they can make something happen in a massive way. Best ball leagues, I've seen him go as high as the 7th round. I don't advocate drafting Mecole Hardman in the 7th. If you can get him in the 9th or 10th, even a jump from that 13th round ADP where he currently is at in transactional leagues, I'm not against it. Our final player on this video, these are my top 5 late round potential league winners. Eric Ebron. Say what you will, but he's being drafted right now as the tight end 22. There's a lot of depth at tight end. There's a lot of guys that could have potential breakout season. Guys like Noah Fant, I've spoken at length about Tyler Higbee, who already had his breakout the second half of last season. And also guys like Mike Gesicki. There's a lot of tight ends in that range, right? Blake Jarwin. There's just a ton of them. Possibly somebody like Herndon. But Eric Ebron has the touchdown upside that I think a lot of those other guys simply don't. Considering how often Ben Roethlisberger has utilized his tight end in past years and the ways that he's utilized his tight end in past years, 70 to 90 targets for their tight end one. Currently, Ebron is the #1 tight end listed on their depth chart in this team. And he's great in the end zone, having scored 13 touchdowns just 2 seasons ago when he actually had a real quarterback throwing the ball to him with Andrew Luck. Obviously, Luck disappearing, dropped his touchdown total last year. With Ben Roethlisberger back healthy and throwing darts all over Steelers camp, not out of the realm of possibility to think that Eric Ebron could have 8 touchdowns being drafted as the tight end 22. Those are my 5 potential league winners. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate y'all being here. Wait for that next video. I'm going to probably come out with 5 videos a week until football season gets here. And come catch me on twitch.tv/al_smizzle. And I'll catch you guys later. Bye.
He's a legend.